If I were to ask you, what's the template for a Manhattan? Would you have any idea on how to describe that?
Besides just listing the ingredient?
Do you know the original specs of a Manhattan? Yes. Right. Do you guys know that?
What was it?
The original specs of a Manhattan is the area code of Manhattan.
Wow.
212. 2 dashes of bitters, 1 ounce sweet vermouth, 2 ounces of whiskey, rye or bourbon, preferably rye. That alone tells a story.
Right.
I guarantee 9 out of 10 guests don't know that. Right. I got 3 bartenders here. 1 knew that. That's okay. That's all right. But just that story alone, it tells the 212, right? That's the original template for the Manhattan. That's the area code for Manhattan, and it became popular because that area code was kind of a status symbol, right? If you were in the 212, if you had a 212 area code, there's a reason why that was kind of a cool thing. Because back in those days, when we had phones, we didn't push buttons like this. We pushed them like this. Right? And what numbers do you have to move the least to dial a phone? 212. There's your area code. So it was simpler to dial somebody because you didn't have to. And it was that simplest little thing that people saw as a status, right? If you're in the 212 area code, kind of cool. And then the story of the cocktail goes along with it. So with that being said, 212, that comes out to about a 3-ounce cocktail, right? So when you're thinking about creating cocktails that fall into that Manhattan category, keep that 212 in the back of your mind, that the 2 ounces of spirit, that could be a split base. It doesn't have to be a single spirit.
Right.
That's where you can start introducing other products to tell a different story that you might want to get out into the world and add your creative element to it, right? You guys familiar with Black Manhattan? Do you know what Black Manhattan is?
Nope.
Take out the sweet vermouth and replace it with Amaro. All right. So, do you guys have any Inferno or anything? You probably have some Burnett floating around somewhere.
On the ground.
Fernette's on the
Right
ground.
behind you.
Amaro's next to Captain Morgan in Midori.
Okay. Yeah. Nonino. Great. Yeah. So Nonino, that was the original Amaro and the paper plane cocktail.
Okay.
Larceny was the original bourbon in that cocktail, made by Sam Ross. Most people don't know this. Those 3 little facts right there is going to pique my guest's interest and create a little bit of trust. Like, yeah, this person knows what they're talking about. They told me the bartender that made the cocktail up. But a Black Manhattan, not to get off track, replace that sweet vermouth with Amaro, and then instead of your traditional aromatic bitters like Ango, do a dash of black walnut bitters. So you have a black walnut Manhattan. It's going to be really rich, really flavorful. It's a great cocktail. But not to get too far off track, that's how you can take the template of an original classic and start playing around with those elements as long as you understand the template, right? And then use that template to inspire creativity, but it's keeping it within the parameters of tradition, right? Same thing with an old fashioned, right? Old fashioned cocktail, bitters, sugar, spirit. Notice I said spirit. How do you make your old fashioned? With whiskey.
Whiskey usually.
Yeah.
I've made some with mezcal.
Yeah. A Oaxacan old fashioned. We call it a Oaxacan old fashioned, right? Mezcal, use mole bitters instead of Ango bitters. Mole's got some chocolate notes to it. It's going to play really nicely with the astringency in the mezcal, and the orange peel is going to play along nicely with the smoky mezcal notes as well. But it doesn't have to be bourbon.
Right.
One of my favorite old fashions, Tomcat. Tomcat old fashioned is phenomenal. Lemon twist instead of an orange twist. But when I have that conversation with a guest, I say, let me make you an old fashioned. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. I'm just going to get you an old fashioned. It tastes, this is good, it's different. What's going on with this, right? And then you tell them it's made with gin. And that opens up a whole new category of conversation with them.
Yeah.
And now they're going, hey, I don't like gin. But this bartender talked me into something that I would never have ordered in my life, and now I'm sold, right? I'm going to come to this dude because they know what they're talking about, right? A good rum old fashioned. We have a Kingston Negroni on the menu right now that is phenomenal. It's made with 21-year Appleton Estate rum. little bit of sweet vermouth Campari, orange peel. It is absolutely delicious, but it's a rum-based Negroni, Kingston Negroni. So moving on to the Negroni cocktail there, right? That's your original equal part cocktail. 1-1-1 is the original template, 1 gin, 1 Campari, 1 sweet vermouth. And use that template to start expanding out into other avenues and bringing in other products. A Mezcal Negroni, right? We call it a Oaxacan Negroni. And you can add that mole bitters in there as well. But understanding that template of the 1-1-1 or the old-fashioned template, you can use those to start plugging and playing with different products. So under that section there, individual ingredients, if you haven't picked up on the theme, those are what can help tell the story and can help build a relationship between you and the guest and get you that extra 10% on that tip. Now, you're not going to get 10% addition from everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm saying over the course of a $100 shift, you get $2 from 5 people, 2 additional dollars off 5 people, there's your 10%, right? It adds up over time. But the individual ingredients, like I said, tell the story. If you decide to use a Tomcat as an old-fashioned base, do you guys know where Bar Hill's made? Or anything about Bar Hill? I know you guys are probably one of the largest Bar Hill accounts in the state.
It's made in Maryland, no?
So I'm not trying to put anybody
No, you're
on
good.
the spot at all by any means, because I was totally in your shoes, and I still am with half the stuff I work with. It's out of Vermont.
Okay.
Do you have any other brands from Vermont? A big one that I know of. I'll see it right off the top of my head. But it's from Vermont. It's from an apiary. Apiary is a bee farm.
Yeah.
Beekeepers. So all of their products are distilled from honey. So you're going to get honey notes in all of their gin, their vodka.
Wow.
And then the Tomcat is their gin, but then barrel aged.
Okay.
So that's why it's dark in color.
The
right?
color, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got your barrel aged that's going to add the caramel color to this, not additional additives to it. It's not a whole bunch of raw honey added to it. All this color comes from the barrel aging process. I mean, you can get that color from just sticking it in a barrel. Well, that's where we're going to tap into our knowledge about product finishing and what barreling a product does.
Gotcha.
Being in the beer world, they do barrel aged beers. Right? Goose Island does a really nice bourbon stout every year. I think they do like a 1-day release.
The brewery I recently worked for, they would barrel age a rye lager with the Sagamore rye whiskey barrels to kind of tie it into the community.
Yeah. So not only does it impart a little bit of flavor there, builds community, and it helps tell the story. Right? That's what it's all going to come down to is telling the story and building that interaction with your guests. I can't stress how cool it is to see it in action, especially if you're like observing a colleague, like really dig in,
go through it,
and
yeah.
you can watch the guests, and you're not like trying to be the one doing
Right.
the thing, but like watching the guests, and you see them like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And then when they walk away, you can still watch that guest, and they turn to their friend and be like,
You see that shit? Yeah.
that's the stuff you want to see,
Yeah.
right?
So I want to say that things like what he's describing is what sets us apart or will set us apart. And the perception that you guys put forward to the guests plays a role in that. And so if they see you as the expert in the area, that's where they're always going to come back to you. So that's building your clientele and building your business too, through educating them.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Because I mean, they may have had a Manhattan at 100 different bars, right? But they never had one that told the story about the 212 and the telephone and how all that led into opening their eyes up to other Manhattans. Story about it. Next thing on that list there is producer ingredients production. Call it PIP. So that's what I encourage you to do, is just know 3 things about a product that's enough to get by, because if you're on a busy night, you don't have a whole lot of time to stand and talk to a guest, or at least you should. But if you're armed with those 3, production, ingredients, or producer, that'll give you a talking point in each one of those elements that might spark interest in them, because they might want to know about the production, they might want to know about where this is from because they, oh, I have a friend out there. Maybe we'll go check out the distillery when we go to Vermont next spring. Whatever. What would make a tequila truly 100% tequila? So, in order to bear the name tequila, it needs to be made from 100% Blue Weber agave. Tequila needs to be made from Blue Weber agave. Mezcal can be made from hundreds of different varietals of the agave plant. So I like to use the association of, in my mind, tequila is grape juice, mezcal is wine. Because tequila can only be made from one type of plant. It's pretty basic. As long as they follow the rules and it comes from one of the 5 states in Mexico that certifies as being tequila, then so be it. But mezcal is a vast, vast flavor profile and complexities and different tiers of aging processes, just like tequila has. But their superior labels don't just rely on the aging process. In the mezcal world, it's about production. So in order to have an artisanal mezcal, to have a higher quality mezcal, you're going to need to not use machinery. You need to have your agave plants crushed by a Tahona wheel and a donkey, going around, no machinery used. It's all old school, no gas, manpower, animal powered stuff. Because those are the traditional ways of doing it. And if you do that, then you can put that seal on your bottle to say that it was an artisanal tequila because it followed all of these rules. I'm sorry, artisanal mezcal because it followed all these rules. Tequila, it's just tequila. We stuck in a barrel for 9 months and now we can call it, Añejo or Reposado, whatever. But knowing those little pieces of facts, you can tell that story with your guests. And like, they know about their tequila. Know about your tools that they use in the field too. The Tahona. You guys know what a Tahona wheel was before that?
No.
Right. I could have just made that up. You don't even know. So, do any of your cocktails here have stories? And sometimes a story can be like, it was created through a happy accident.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to make whipped cream and we put lime juice in there by accident. I make a spoon. Right?
But I think that we're doing the new menu that we're working on right now. Like, I think is going to have the details that you're talking about as far as stories go, because we're tying them in with, like the pirouette was created by Isaac, who is part of the Maryland Ballet.
Mm-hmm.
The midshipman's the torch Lexi created, but we're tying that in with the Naval Academy. So like we're using a lot of marketing, I think, that will give them the stories that they can talk about. The Backstage Pass was created by Riley, but we're tying that in with Ramshead on Stage so that we can pull more people from there.
And there's your in for social media.
Yeah.
You go to those places, you tag them. All I'm saying is have a story. Right?
Yeah.
And it came from these 2 guests that came in. That was your source of inspiration. And you can talk to them.
Yeah.
You guys have fresh ingredients here.
Yeah.
Where do you get fresh ingredients from? A farmer's market, right? So we wanted to showcase the fact that we use fresh ingredients in our kitchen and our cocktails. So we put this cocktail together. It's the farmer's market. It's to pay homage and tell the story of how we utilize fresh and locally sourced ingredients, for your experience.